In a small village nestled between rolling hills, there was a home that held many memories. The house was large and grand, filled with laughter and life, where a loving family lived. Among the many people who helped in the house, there was a young woman named Maria. She came from a humble background, and her days were spent cleaning, cooking, and caring for the family with a grace that made everyone admire her. Maria had been working for the family for several years, but it was during the spring of one particular year that things began to change. Her employer, your Uncle Thomas, was a man in his early 30s, full of charm and quiet strength. Though he was kind-hearted, he had always kept a distance from the household staff. It wasn't that he was cold. Rather, he was a man focused on his work, rarely engaging with the daily happenings in the house. He would pass by the servants' quarters with polite greetings, but nothing beyond that. Maria had noticed him from afar, though his steady presence, the way he cared for his family, and the gentleness in his eyes that would occasionally appear when he thought no one was looking. She admired his quiet confidence and the way he handled every situation with patience. Yet, she never imagined that he could see her in the same way. One fateful evening, the two of them found themselves alone in the kitchen. It was late, and Maria was preparing the family's favorite dessert. Thomas had come down to grab a late-night drink, but he paused when he saw her. There was something in the way the moonlight filtered through the windows, casting a soft glow over her as she worked. Her focus and grace made him pause, and for the first time, he saw her not just as the housemaid, but as a woman. They exchanged a few words, casual at first, but somehow the conversation felt different. It was as though they were finally seeing each other for who they. As the days passed, their interactions became more frequent. They found themselves speaking more openly, sharing stories of their lives and dreams. Maria told Thomas about her life before she came to work for the family, her childhood in the village, and the dream she had of one day leaving the house to start a family of her own. Thomas, in turn, shared his hopes and struggles, his own desires to build a life that was meaningful beyond his wealth and family obligations. One day, after months of slowly getting to know one another, Thomas found himself thinking about Maria in a way he had never thought about anyone before. He realized that he wanted her by his side, not just as a worker in his home, but as someone who could be his equal, his partner. The thought filled him with warmth and uncertainty, for he knew that their relationship would be looked upon with judgment by society. But the more he thought about it, the clearer it became. Maria was the one who understood him in ways no one else ever could. It was on a rainy afternoon that Thomas gathered the courage to speak his heart. He asked Maria to meet him in the garden, where the rain had softened the world into a quiet hum. She was surprised to find him waiting for her under the large oak tree, his face serious but soft. He spoke of his feelings for her, telling her how much she meant to him. Maria, unsure of what to say at first, could only look into his eyes and feel the sincerity of his words. In that moment, she realized that her heart had long since been stolen by this man, and with a smile, she accepted his proposal. The decision was not an easy one, but it was a decision made with love. Together, they began to plan their future. The news of their engagement spread quickly, and while some were skeptical, many supported their union. The wedding day arrived in the heart of summer, and the house was filled with a sense of anticipation and joy. Flowers were arranged in every room, and the sounds of preparation echoed through the house. On the day of the wedding, Thomas stood at the altar, his heart pounding with excitement. He looked out among the guests and saw his family, friends, and Maria's loved ones. And then, as the doors opened and Maria walked in, his breath caught in his throat. She was stunning, her hair softly pulled back, and her gown, a simple but elegant dress, flowed gracefully around her. Her smile, radiant and full of love, made his heart swell with happiness. As she walked down the aisle, every step was a promise of a new beginning, not just for them, but for everyone who had witnessed their journey. Thomas met her halfway, taking her hands in his, and in that moment, the world seemed to stand still. The vows were spoken, simple and true. their voices trembling with emotion as they promised to cherish each other forever. The reception that followed was filled with laughter, dancing, and music. Family and friends celebrated the union of two souls who had found each other against all odds. The night was filled with love, joy, and a sense of deep fulfillment, for it was clear that this was more than just a wedding. It was the beginning of a beautiful chapter in their lives. As the evening drew to a close, the newlyweds shared a quiet moment together, standing outside under the stars. Maria looked up at Thomas, her heart full of gratitude and wonder. In his eyes, she saw a future filled with love, respect, and happiness. And as they held each other, they both knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, side by side. This is a heartfelt story of two people from different walks of life finding each other, proving that love transcends boundaries and that the heart knows no limits when it comes to finding its true match. As the days passed after the wedding, Thomas and Maria settled into a rhythm of married life, embracing each new chapter with open hearts. The house, which had once been just a place of work for Maria, became a true home, full of love, laughter, and shared dreams. Every room echoed with the sound of their joy as they transformed the space together, creating memories in the corners of their home. Maria's life had changed in many ways. She was no longer simply the housemaid. She was the woman who had captured Thomas's heart. She learned to navigate the complexities of her new role, not only as a wife, but as an equal partner in their home and community. Though some still whispered about their unconventional relationship, Maria and Thomas knew that their bond was strong and real, built on mutual respect and affection. They held their heads high, knowing they had overcome societal barriers and chosen to live life on their own terms. The couple's love continued to grow deeper with every passing season. In quiet moments, they would sit together on the porch, watching the sunset as the sky turned from orange to pink, talking about everything and nothing at all. Thomas often spoke of his aspirations, not just for himself, but for the future they would build together. Maria, with her gentle spirit and insightful mind, offered him wisdom and encouragement, always reminding him of the simple joys in life. They complemented each other in ways that made their love seem effortless. In time, their family grew. A little boy named Samuel came into their lives, filling the house with even more laughter and happiness. As Maria held her son in her arms, she marveled at how much her life had changed since that first day she met Thomas. From the young woman who had quietly admired him from afar, she had become his partner, his confidant, and the mother of their child. Thomas, too, found a deep sense of fulfillment in fatherhood. He often stayed up late, writing letters to Samuel that he would one day give him, filled with advice, stories of his own childhood, and hopes for his future. The love that had started between him and Maria had expanded into something even more beautiful with the arrival of their son. The small village where they lived became a place where their story was told over and over. How a man who had everything had found love in the most unexpected place, and how a woman who had once only dreamed of a better life now held the keys to a life full of love and fulfillment. Their marriage had brought about change, not just for them, but for everyone around them. It showed that love was not confined to the roles society expected, but could be found in the most unexpected places. Years passed, and as the family grew, so did the strength of their love. They built a life together that was rich with meaning, not because of their material wealth, but because of the love that anchored them through every challenge. Whether it was the simple joy of family dinners, the quiet moments spent by the fire, or the shared dreams of what the future might hold, every moment was a testament to their love and their journey together. Their wedding, which had once felt like the beginning of something new and uncertain, had become the foundation of a life well lived. Thomas and Maria continued to walk side by side, navigating the ups and downs of life with unwavering support for one another. They never lost sight of the love that had brought them together, the love that had defied all expectations and created something truly extraordinary. As they grew older, Thomas and Maria often reflected on their journey, grateful for every twist and turn that had led them to where they were. They had faced challenges, yes, but their love had always seen them through. And as they sat together on the porch, watching their son grow into a young man, they knew that the story of their love would continue for generations to come. Their wedding was more than just a ceremony. It was the start of a legacy of love, a story that would live on in the hearts of everyone who knew them. And as the years passed, it became clear that love, in its purest form, was timeless. As the years rolled by, Thomas and Maria's life remained a beautiful testament to the power of love and commitment. Their bond had weathered the test of time, evolving into something deeper, more profound. Their home was no longer just a place where they lived. It had become a symbol of the love they had built together, full of warmth, laughter, and memories. Their son, Samuel, grew up under the watchful eyes of his parents, who ensured that he was raised with love, humility, and a strong sense of kindness. He inherited his father's quiet strength and his mother's gentle spirit, a perfect blend of both their worlds. As he grew older, Thomas would often take him aside, sharing with him the stories of their early days, how they met, how love had blossomed between them despite the odds, and how important it was to always be kind and fair to others. Maria, ever the nurturing presence in their lives, continued to be the heart of the family. She balanced the roles of mother, wife, and friend with a grace that left an indelible impression on everyone she met. Her laughter, still as sweet as it had been when she first entered Thomas's life, filled the home every day. Maria was also a pillar of support to everyone in the village, known for her willingness to lend a hand or offer a listening ear. She had become a woman of wisdom and compassion, admired not only for her gentle nature, but for the strength she had shown in forging a life with Thomas. As Samuel reached adulthood, he decided to pursue his own dreams, though he never strayed too far from the lessons his parents had taught him. He went on to study at a university in the city, where he excelled and made his parents proud. Through it all, Thomas and Maria continued to support him, always reminding him of the values that had shaped their lives together. In the quiet moments of their later years, Thomas and Maria often sat side by side, reflecting on their journey. They spoke of the challenges they had overcome, of the joy of building a life together, and of the deep satisfaction that came from knowing their love had created something enduring. They found beauty in the simple things. The way the sun would set over the hills, the rustle of leaves in the trees, and the comfort of knowing that they had each other through it all. Their love story, which had begun in the most humble of settings, had grown into something extraordinary. They had built a legacy not through wealth or fame, but through the love and respect they had shown each other, day in and day out. In every gesture, from the smallest kindness to the deepest moments of connection, their love had been a constant, unwavering force. As they grew older, they found that their love had become even stronger. The challenges of life had only made them closer, and they found joy in the simple pleasures. Holding hands as they took walks in the garden, sharing quiet evenings by the fireplace, and watching their family grow. Even in their advanced years, Thomas and Maria remained inseparable, still finding in each other the same deep affection that had first brought them together. One autumn evening, as the air grew cooler and the leaves turned shades of amber and gold, Thomas and Maria sat together on their porch, gazing out at the world they had built. Samuel had just returned from the city for a visit, and the house was filled with the warmth of family. It was in that peaceful moment, surrounded by their loved ones, that Thomas turned to Maria, his voice gentle but full of emotion. "You know, Maria," he said softly, "I still remember the day we first met. I never imagined then that we would have all this, our home, our family, our life together." Maria smiled, her hand resting on his. "I know, but I've never been more certain of anything. Every moment with you has been a blessing." Thomas leaned in, his eyes filled with love as he kissed her forehead. The years had passed, but the depth of his feelings for her had never waned. They had built something beautiful together, a life grounded in love, trust, and respect. And they knew that this love would endure for the rest of their days. As the night drew on, they sat there in silence, content in each other's company, knowing that no matter what the future held, they would always have one another. They had created a love that was timeless, a love that would live on in the stories of their family, passed down through the generations. And in the quiet of that autumn evening, they knew their story had been written in the stars, a beautiful, everlasting bond that would never fade. And so, in the years that followed, long after they were gone, the legacy of their love lived on, not only in the memories of those who had known them, but in the hearts of their children, grandchildren, and beyond. The story of Thomas and Maria was one that inspired all who heard it, a tale of love, perseverance, and the beauty of finding one's true match against all odds. Their love, like the house they had built together, stood as a testament to the fact that love is not bound by circumstances or expectations. It is a force that transcends time, a gift that only grows stronger with each passing year. And in the hearts of all who knew them, Thomas and Maria's love story would forever remain a shining example of what it means to truly love, deeply and without reservation.